Good evening. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sunday Night Live Topics. I am Caesar, and I am your host tonight.
Caesar.
Oh, we lost Nate. Nate's in the background. Hold on.
Hold on. I
Let's
got to let
get
Nate
him.
back in.
Yeah,
Of course
add.
you do.
There you
And
go.
there he is.
Hi, Nate.
What up, though?
So we got everybody on tonight. If you guys are logging on right now, we'll give you a few minutes too, but please share this stream. We're hoping it'll reach somebody that it can help. You never know what somebody needs to hear. And we're getting a few people on right now. Let's see who we got here.
Desiree.
We got Desiree. Hey, Desiree. We got Allie. Hey,
Oh,
Allie.
Lish. That's Allie. All right. Going
Got-
incognito.
We got Daryl. What's up, Daryl? Dustin. Boom. As always, shared and had a great weekend. Man, it was great seeing you this weekend, brother.
Yeah.
We really appreciated your help. So we got Michael. What's up, Michael? Lynn. We got Noodle.
We got Noodle in the house.
What's up, Noodle? And
Jamie.
Jamie, what's up, Jamie?
Rachel.
We got Rachel. Rachel shared. Thank you so much, Rachel. Let's see what else. Celine, what's up,
Rosalind.
Celine? We appreciate you too. Thank you for tuning in. We got Reagan. Hello, my love.
Hello.
Oh, thank you, man. We appreciate your
You can have him,
support.
Reagan.
Yes, we do.
And Ashley, yo, what's up, Ashley? All right, well, we'll get it started, and Kelly is going to do the Hope Shot Clarity Statement.
Yes. All right. The Hope Shot Clarity Statement. We here at the Hope Shot are a group of people in recovery spreading inspiration. We come from all different walks of life and pathways of recovery. Our verbiage may be different at times, but we all have one thing in common: recovery as a lifestyle. We support all pathways of recovery. It doesn't matter how you get from A to Z, just get there. Thank you for being a part of our family.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
You're welcome.
And we've got a few other people. I like this right here. Randomly popped up on my phone right at 7. Never seen this before.
Nice.
You know, we've got some technical magic by Justin, our fearless leader.
Welcome.
And Justin sets these things up so that it does randomly pop up. So apparently
it's
that's all working.
I think God does the work.
What's that?
I think
God does the work.
God did that.
Yeah.
Here for the reason.
Like I said earlier, I'm the captain now. So I guess we got Johnny that just had an anniversary, and Nate's got one coming up. Kelly just had one, and I just had one. So we're going to kind of do a check-in, and going to talk about, you know, what we were doing in the beginning and what we're doing now and how our recovery's grown, how it's changed, and we'll see what that morphs into. And if you guys have any questions or want us to answer anything, throw something into the comments and we'll be happy to address it. So I will give it to you, Johnny.
All right. What's up, family? Johnny here. So we were just talking before we went live, and I was like, wow, I got COVID for my 7 years. I just got over COVID, and it's the first time I got it, and it really kicked my butt, and I have a new respect for it. I hadn't had it this whole time, 2.5 years or whatever, as long as it's been around, and it kicked my ass. And it happened. We went to the music festival. I believe, all of us that wound up with it. I'm over it now, negative. But to talk about, celebrating 7 years is huge for me, man. I never really, I was never able to put together anything, no amount of time, a day or two. I've done the world tour of the treatment centers from a young age, 14 all the way to 36 was my last one. And I'm 46 now this year. And I can only put together the time that I was separated, I just had absolutely no tools. you know, and over the years, as my addiction went on and deeper, you know, we talk about it often amongst ourselves and, you know, in groups and in meetings. But I guess at some point along the way, I like accepted the fact that that was what my life was going to be, you know, and I was almost okay with it. When deep down inside, I really knew that like I wanted something different. I would say things to myself like, I wasn't raised like that. You know, I just knew that there was so much more out there and I needed to tap into it and I didn't know how. And I really wasn't willing to do the work that it took to get tapped into it. And I never was able to hang around long enough to see the universe and God set the stage to where I wanted to stay, you know, until, and through all that and all the years and all my experiences through that, I finally became willing because I didn't have anything else, man. You know, by the time this last time, I was very well versed around recovery, but I was never in recovery. You know, I would do what most of us do. We talk about it often. Also, you know, my MO for a while when I was younger was I'd go to rehab, I'd go to a halfway house, I'd get cleaned up and I would be good. And I would think that I could go back out and control the way I used or drank or whatever. And that just was never the case for me. So when I finally, you know, came back 7 years ago, I just started to follow what others were doing, guys that I looked up to that were living a good life, that were treating people good, that were, you know, successful in life, business, recovery, relationships, all those things. And I grabbed a hold of them and I held on. And, you know, I've spoke about it before. It was awkward for me, you know, for a long time. And I'm still awkward, you know. Here I am 7 years later, awkward as hell. But I embrace it and it's amazing. And I'm surrounded by other awkward mofos who have embraced it also, you know. But just to, I mean, real quick, just to sum it up, I always say, like, because I never really thought that it would happen in my life. And now sticking around, having experienced this journey, the relationships that I've made, the opportunities that I've had, and I look at it and I'm like, man, this is, and we say it all the time, like, this is accessible to anybody. And not only have I like made this my life, my lifestyle, I work doing this stuff. I spend a lot of the time, my free time, most of my free time doing Hope Shot, you know, helping others. And that's, recovery gave me purpose, man. It really did. And it's given me a beautiful life. One that, again, I never thought would be possible for me. Today, I know it is possible for me. Not only is it possible for me, it's impossible for anybody if they just, you know, whatever their journey looks like, you know, I don't know what that is, but they need to find out what it is and then just grab a hold, man. You know, the coolest thing for me is that I used to, you know, like I say, I would place myself in a box. Like, I'm not uncomfortable around people anymore like I used to be. You know, just this weekend, we're hanging out with the mayor. We're hanging out with a bunch of business owners. We're doing stuff. And I no longer, you know, a couple of years ago when I was first introduced to that, it was like, wow, whoa, cool, you know. But now this is a regular working part of my life because I've done this work. I constantly show up to the best of my ability. And some days I let off the brake and I don't feel good, or I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I get off balance. We all do, you know, but for myself, I know where the solution is. The stuff that got me to where I am 7 years of sobriety is the same stuff that I try to do daily in my life, and it grows a little bit more as I go. You know, I find new tools, different things. But I am super, super grateful, man, that I have been able to tap into this, man, and start this journey, you know, because I always say, I was 38 when I got sober for real, you know, and started to change my behavior patterns also. So really, I'm like a 7-year-old kid, and I'm grateful for it. you know, and I look forward to the future. And I love what we do, man. I love being able to be a voice for this, man, because it is a passion for me, because I know now that it's available to anybody. You got to find your way. So that's my 2 cents. Love you guys.
Dude, man, we love you so much. We're talking about being we always talk about our authentically awkward selves, but
Hashtag authentically awkward.
I want to share, this weekend, everybody that's on the screen, except for Lisa, she was doing other epic stuff that she's going to tell us about. But we were in Ocala at Recovery on the Square, and we were hanging out with the mayor, with a judge, with a former state representative, being our awkward selves and just hanging out with these decision makers. And they want to hear what we have to say. We got up on stage and we talked about the Hope Shot. We talked about where we came from. And I want to put this comment up because I think that it's important.
Yeah, I want to touch on that too.
She says, Tanisha says, my story is too hard to share because
Never.
I would be so real and so many people might see it and judge me. Tanisha, the reason that you're seeing our faces right now is because people that knew little bits of our story were trying to use it against us. And instead of letting them and hiding from it, we decided to go out on a large platform and share our stories. I mean, you've got convicted felons, multiple prison bids. Our stories are ugly, and we've all shared our stories, and we've shared them on this platform to thousands and thousands of people. After this thing goes live, and then once it's done and it goes on, it keeps getting views and more views and more views. And that's the way we were able to take our power back. People can't use it against me if I freely share it. If I'm the one that's putting the information out there, how are you going to hurt me by reposting my story that I posted? So, I think it would be awesome if you got out and shared your story, because it takes the fear away.
I do want to say though, Tanisha, this on the whole other end of that, and not to discredit what we do, I love taking your power back and sharing your story. Some parts of your story, some parts of my story, I don't share on such a public platform. That's why we have our groups of people in recovery that we trust. That's why we have mentors and sponsors. That's why we have counselors and therapists. Some of my stuff isn't necessarily something that I might want the whole world to know, but by sharing it with those I trust, you can still gain your power back that way. So don't feel like you have to, come on a podcast and share it because we do it this way. Whatever way that you can get that out and work through it so that you get your power back and can help the next person that is going through what you might have gone through, that's where the power is.
Yeah, and thank you for being the voice of reason. Because by no means did I say the first time you tell your story, you should do it on a podcast. I had to have conversations with a mentor and a sponsor, and then I had to grow my network. And I told it in a rehab, and then I told it in a bigger group of people. And it just got to the point where I told it so many times that I was completely comfortable without any repercussions putting it out like this. Not everybody is, but we have to share the burden with somebody because it gets too heavy to carry around all the trauma and all the grief and the guilt and shame. You lighten that load by sharing it with somebody.
However you can get it out of your head. I'm a writer too. So lots of times I'll write my thoughts that are going through my brain down on paper. And one of my first sponsors used to say, it's still getting out of your head, down to your shoulder, down to your arm, down to your hand, down to the pen, onto that paper. And I needed just that little visualization, like it's getting out of my head. Because when it's in our head that long, it gets messy and squirrely, and just getting it out of your head and taking your power back and helping the next person, however that looks to you.
And thank you for commenting and sharing that with us. So I want to go to, let's see if I can do it, our good friend, Boom, Nate. Nate, you got your anniversary coming up next weekend. So give us a little check-in and tell us what you can tell us.
All right. First of all, I'm a little self-conscious because now you can see that my shirt's wrinkled. So
It's not wrinkled.
here we are 4 years later, still insecure and wondering what other people think. Anyway, which is a good segue into what I'm about to share. So yeah, I celebrate 4 years next Sunday. That's really cool that girl came on there and shared that about, her story being hard to tell. My story is not pretty, man. I've been reflecting on that a lot. I too just got over COVID. People blame me for being the carrier, but we were amongst 130,000 people. So why don't we blame them? Anyway. So, yeah, I'm any time that I come up on an anniversary, I get really reflective, and I can't help but look back. Not only that, but I was bedridden for a week, without too much contact. So I, just had a lot of time to reflect, and it's amazing what happens when we get to this deal, we plug in, we connect with some other people, and then we ultimately connect to some type of source, some whatever you choose to call it, God, whatever, and something happens. Everything that kept me sick and out there and full of shame and regret and guilt transforms into my greatest motivator, my greatest gift. I finally, and Johnny touched on it, we find purpose, because now all these nothings finally mean something. And these nothings that I'm talking about doesn't really have to do with material loss, because I never really had much to begin with. I never had an opportunity to, buy a house. I never had an opportunity to have a career. I never had an opportunity to go to college. I never had a family, of my own. What I did have was 14 years in prison. And I tell this to people all the time, that I was happier in prison than when I was out, because when I was out, I was in this whole other type of prison where I was in this world where I had no idea how to navigate, because I didn't have any skills, I didn't have any tools. I was in a constant delusion. I felt I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was meant to do. All I knew that is to shut all that off. Everything that I did to others, everything that I stole, everything that I seemingly in my mind lost. The only way I could shut that off was with substance. It's the only way I could get my mind to shut the fuck up for a second, and in turn, it made everything that much worse. And thus starting this perpetual cycle where it was just basically me, not even the stuff stopped working. It became medicinal. It was just so I could feel well. And so another thing that I've been thinking about coming up on my 4 years is I have a tendency to be very critical on myself. I've made a lot of decisions this last couple months, and made some transitions in my business, and it hasn't gone that well, to be perfectly honest. A lot of things have happened, and so, and here's something that I still struggle with. And I mean, 4 years in, I start questioning myself. I just talked to my mentor last night, asking him, what am I doing wrong? Why am I so affected by these occurrences that, I feel like I should be weathering the storm with a little more grace? Not that I'm acting out externally or lashing out at people or having a bad attitude or anything like that. But it's piqued all those insecurities, like, am I really good enough to run this business? Am I really doing my program right at 4 years, not feeling too spiritual every moment of the day? Um, am, am I worthy? Am I good enough for all these blessings? And then, and this is something that comes probably from, trauma and everything that happened, throughout my active usage, and what I've discovered is this: everybody I've talked to kind of validates the fact that anything that's happening in my life is meant to happen. You know what I mean? And I'm always brought back to gratitude. Because these things happening in my life, I never had the opportunity to experience not only my business woes, but just having a job, having peace of mind, having, a bank account, like all these simple things. So yeah, I'm grateful for my journey. I'm grateful, that coming up on 4 years, it has these last couple months haven't been the easiest for me, because guess what? I'm sober through all of it. And not once have I thought about, oh, fuck it, or anything like that. I haven't, hurt anybody. But what I need to work on, and what I struggle with still, is, giving myself a break. I, I'm, and I've shared this before, but I'll share it again. It's like, anybody that's new in here or on this forum or in general, I don't know. I know I did when I first came in. I had a tendency to put people that had, years on a pedestal, and I just would like feel like what they had, I could never have. You know what I mean? And I love how Johnny said that one of the greatest lessons we learn in here is that this recovery deal is available to anybody, right? And what has happened, for what I keep discovering on a daily basis, is that, I'm still crazy. I'm still insecure. I still deal with fear. I have all these things that I struggle with still, but the difference is I don't sit in it today. That's the difference in me having 4 years and me having 4 days or 4 months, where I would sit in the problem for weeks on end. Today I don't sit on them. I immediately address them. I immediately expose them. I immediately reach out to multiple people and utilize this gift that I've been given, which is my network, my God. And I feel that I woke up this morning grateful, grateful for all this stuff that's been happening, even because my brother messaged me, and he's not one of us. So he said, he's like, man, I'm really pissed off for you. He's talking about a situation. He's like, that shit's got me so mad. And I immediately texted him back, and I said, yeah, I understand how you feel, because I was there too, but I can't wait to see the opportunity and everything that just happened, and that's the difference today, because I continue to reach out to my higher power. I continue to plug in with my people. I continue to be of service. I have access to this power, and with that power, I'm able to navigate these situations. And yeah, I'm so grateful for, to be able to celebrate. I understand that I'm just scratching the surface, but I also understand how far I've come, and I'm grateful for every moment of it, and even for the good and the bad, because what greater freedom to find that, that 20 plus years of just chaos and tragedy is my greatest asset today. So yeah, for that, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my latest struggles. It's given me an opportunity to, utilize these principles that I practice on a daily basis. I believe that my source doesn't give me anything that I can't handle. I'm saying that now, maybe not when I'm immersed in like the heart of the problem, but like just for example, like when all this shit was going down this Friday, when I wanted to react, I immediately knew that I needed to pray on it. And these practices are so foreign to a guy like me that had no idea what that meant or the power that it held. And to have access to that today, and to not be embarrassed and not feel like a weirdo to talk about it, this is me seeing myself evolving in my recovery. And um it's the polar opposite of how I used to be, because when I was ashamed, or I thought that it would be uncool to talk of God, or to talk about connection, or to be vulnerable and ask friends for help, these are the very things that I immediately do without hesitation. It's like second nature today, and those are the very things that keep me afloat and give me power. And I'm grateful for my people, grateful for my connection, and I'm grateful to be a part of this movement and in my own personal recovery. I mean, this week I was able to be involved in my first intervention. This week I went to a Floridians for Recovery Summit, and I mean, I'm messaging Johnny. I'm like, bro, I just took a picture with the senator. You know what I mean? A 5-time prison convict, man. And I'm in a room with senators and the former drug czars, and then Saturday, what better way to end the weekend than to be with my people. And it takes some getting used to, man. Like, I have to grow into that space. I don't go in there and own the room. I go in there and feel like I really don't belong there at first, until people are coming up and saying, man, we've heard so much about the Hope Shot. We are so excited what you're doing. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, cool. Like, and it's crazy, man. I'm grateful. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. I love you guys so much. I love the opportunity to be a part of this deal. And I like the ability to keep this thing fresh and growing up, into this arena. It's definitely it's surreal at times, but I know it's exactly where I belong.
Thank you so much, Nate. If you guys are just tuning in, we ask you, please share this, share our feed. You never know who it can help. And go ahead, Kelly.
No, I was just going to say, Nate, you were talking about being in that room and senators coming up to you. And the amazing thing is, like, if you look at it this way, that senator that you were hanging out with was one of us and is proud that he was one of us, and talks about out loud at these fancy events that he's proud to be in recovery. And I mean, if that's just not a testament that anybody can do anything, any one of us can do anything, then nothing is. So, like, I try to remember when I'm in those groups of people that everybody is just a person. And the only difference between us and them is likely that we share our shit out loud. Everybody has it, everybody does.
I'm looking at the comments, and there's great comments in here. Y'all are such a source of inspiration. Recovery is such a gift, and all of you shine in such exquisite ways. The beauty from the ashes. I thank God for my recovery and all of yours.
Beauty from
thank
the
you.
ashes. I love that.
Thank you so much. That's a beautiful statement. I think all of us in recovery, or at least everyone that's on this screen, has the imposter syndrome. We feel like we don't deserve to be where we are. Our self-image on the inside is still the image of the active addict or the active alcoholic.
Or just not good enough.
Yeah, or just not good enough. And although it's a hard thing to deal with, it's also the driving force of why we work so hard in our community and why we bust our asses to do what we do, because we always feel like it's not enough. We feel like I'll use I statements. I feel like it's never enough. I'm trying to even the scales out from my past. I did a lot of damage. I hurt a lot of people. I I try to make up for that daily. It's part of my living amends is to give back to the community that I took so much from. You know, I stole so much time from people and peace of mind from people that I try to give peace of mind and give my time to people. So, you know, it's the blessing and the curse. We always feel like we're not good enough, but the blessing is that drives us to keep being better. So
I think that ebbs and flows sometimes too. At least it does for me. Like some days I feel like I'm good and then I'll notice it creeping up on me again. And it's just a matter of working on it. I mean, I just had something happen in my life where I accepted a position and I could not let myself think that the title of that position was something that I was deserving of. And it took some time. I mean, I'm literally writing every night. I'm praying every night to remove this. That's literally a character defect for me that I have to work on is that imposter syndrome. It's a tough one, but it ebbs and it flows. And I think that you just have to continue doing the work every day. Can't really pause on that.
yeah, I mean, you were worried about your shirt. Christina says, at least it's clean and wrinkled, though. You know, it could be a dirty shirt that's wrinkled. We're living our best lives. They're clean.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but Lisa, did you want to tell us anything about your weekend? I know you're tired. You don't have to. But
No, for sure. I will definitely share about it. Hey everybody. So this weekend, God, well, first I want to say I haven't been on in like a hot minute. So like I missed the one. I missed this totally. I wasn't gonna come on because I'm just got back and I'm like, I got to. I'm like, my soul is like on fire right now from this weekend. So a bunch of us girls traveled from Ocala, Florida to Atlanta, Georgia. We do every single year to attend a women's conference called Girl Stock. It's amazing. I can't really say too much about it because of, of the, what is it? The group, I guess you could say. But, yes, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, if you could tell them stuff. But anyway, but the whole experience is something that it's almost something that I need every year. I experienced this 5 years ago, and literally there were 450 women here or at the, in the conference, and it was called, my foundation is based on the steps. It's called A Journey Through the Steps. And, it's funny you guys were talking about, telling our stories because these women would, there was a woman that would like tell her story and then like go into whatever step she was going to talk about. And, I completely understand how shameful our stories are. I'm going to say in the beginning, it takes time for it not to be. But telling my story took away its power. All the acts of dirtiness that I did, the acts that are just unspeakable sometimes. But I'm going to tell you before I even went into detox, I went to a meeting at a treatment center. It was the night before I went to detox, and I was still high. And a woman was speaking, and she told her story. And like literally, I was already weird about treatment. I was weird about, doing work and all that stuff. But as she was telling her story, all I could do was shake my head and like think in my head, like, oh my God, I did that. Oh my God, she did that too. Holy cow. Like I'm not the only one that's like a piece of crap, we're human. Like we're not like pieces of crap. We're not. We are people who make mistakes and we learn from them. And that's why like this whole process is so important, God, this weekend, I feel like right before we left, I was like feeling, well, besides the COVID, because I just got over that, but like I was disconnected, you know, I haven't been going to a lot of my groups or meetings and stuff. You know, I've been kind of isolating. I haven't been super, I haven't been participating a lot at our clubhouse. Just I've been kind of like separating myself, but and I didn't know why, you know, and it's my connection. It didn't take this weekend, but I feel like it did for it to just like hit me in the head, like I'm not connected like I usually am. And Kelly was saying that ebb and flow, that up and down, it's like, you know, this shit is not like an even keel this whole entire time. Nate, you're going through it. You know, we get on our highs, and then like we get super low sometimes, you know, but I feel like we need those lows in order to grow even more. And then that low gets higher, and then our balances kind of go up. We're still going up, you know, but just in a different way. I just, you know, while we were up there, a few of us women got to leave the conference, drive to a friend's wedding. So we got to experience love while we were there, and, you know, and watching two people in recovery, you know, build their lives and have a beautiful wedding and just come together, and going back to the conference and finishing it off, you know, with these 450 women of just like just explosion of just goodness, you know, and just purity. It was amazing. I wish it was. I'm not even gonna say I wish I could like bring you guys, because it's a woman's thing. There's something about it, just like, you know, there's a men's conference and all that stuff. There's something about this place that is so sacred to me. And like I made a pact with a friend of mine, and we've been going for 5 years. And literally, we're gonna do this every year if God allows us to, if life allows us to. So, but yeah. But this weekend was amazing. I'm glad to be home, to my non-COVID husband.
Yay.
And my crazy two dogs, you know. I missed the recovery on the square, which I was super bummed, but I watched the videos over and over, and I was constantly looking at my phone, which I shouldn't have in the conference, but I totally was like on top of it, but next year. So yeah, so that's all pretty much.
Thank you so much. You know, it's awesome. You know, you get to go get your experience. We got to go get an experience. We divide and conquer. Nate's out there doing the summit. Like we're all doing stuff, you know, and we get to come together sometimes, all of us, but we're all getting it done, man. And we're covering a lot of ground.
And it's feeding our spirituality. It's feeding it. And it's just like, and it's right when I needed it. You know, even just seeing you guys at these events, I was like, I was like, it was like it was coming out of you guys onto me. Like it was just, I was like, oh God, I wish I was there, but I'm glad I'm here. But I'm like, wish I was there. But it's just like it's recovering out loud, and like these women were telling their stories, you know, and you guys were telling your stories, and it was just this massive, just beautiful like entity that I don't know. I'm just on a high right now, so
Love it.
What you said though about it kind of is, I'll say for myself, it's complacency. Life's good these days, and you know I got to work. Maybe I don't make that meeting, or you know, and I can lose my connection too. I shouldn't say I've lost my connection, you know, and it's easy to fall into the complacency because we are busy. You know, if you're new, I can promise you, if you stick around and you do the next right thing, you're not going to be sitting around counting minutes, hours. Your life will be full, and you'll be fully scheduled, and you go, oh man, there's not enough hours in the day anymore. But Johnny was joking around, Nate was joking around about, just let Caesar get on the stage, and I can't do that unless I am doing it regularly, and I force myself to speak in front of people and to do that I think Kelly, no, I don't think Kelly was there. The first time I spoke in public was at a big speaker
Oh, I was
meeting.
there. You shook.
It's at Nate's home group. It's like a speaker meeting with 200
It's a banger.
people. And
Yeah.
I hadn't even been out of rehab that long. And one of our buddies goes, "Hey, kid, we need a 10-minute speaker. Come on, you're up." And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
That meeting's intimidating. I almost peed my pants when I spoke at that meeting.
So I literally physically now they're reading the literature and I know what order it goes in and I know I'm coming and I'm physically shaking.
Yeah.
I have never spoken in front of anybody except for a jury of my peers and a judge. Like I don't do that. And this guy named Kevin was like, "Man, just relax," because the guy that asked me to do it isn't as kind and sweet. And he was like, "You're going to turn your back on the program that saved your life, kid. Get up there." And I'm like, "Oh, geez, man, come on."
I don't respond.
So my buddy Kevin's like, "Look, just take a deep breath." He said, "You can't mess this up. It's only 10 minutes. You don't have a lot of sobriety, so just tell them what it was like and what it, save the last 3 minutes for what it's like right now." And I went up there and I don't know what I said. I had to come down and go, "Hey, Kevin, what did I say? Was I okay?" I was so nervous. And then I asked Chris, I was like, "Was that okay?" Because, he was like the godfather of the group. And he was like, "The only thing that was weird is it looked like a fan was blowing on you because your shirt was moving." He's like, "But it wasn't the breeze. It was you physically shaking so hard that your clothes were moving." And from that to this weekend where I'm like, "Sure, yeah, just get up there. I don't even want to think about it and we'll talk." That's
Dude, you've gotten so good at that, it's almost sick.
It was so good.
But I don't want to glaze over the fact of how hard it was for me, and this thing has been amazing. Like, you couldn't have told me 8 years ago that I would be talking in front of anybody or that I would have anything to offer to say in front of anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the gifts just keep coming.
I read a comment in there that asked, "Hey, I still am." I think it was somebody had said that I'm 2 years in something. It was Pam. 2 years in something, and I still can't tell my story. Any pointers? And the one that I got that changed my life, and I still, like, personally, I've spoke 100 times. I've spoke at that meeting. I go into the prison 3 times a month. I talk to these guys. I spoke yesterday, and I still get nervous, man. Like, I do. My leg was shaking when we were up there yesterday, bro. It's no lie. It's the truth.
My
But
handshakes, I just get louder now.
yeah. And so, like, Lance told me years ago, the first time that I did it, he said, "Johnny," and I was making just like you were talking about, Caesar. He said, "Dude, go up there and tell the truth. It's your story. You can't fuck it up." And I was like, and I went up there and told my story, and I still shook a little bit, but I went by that simple little thing, man, that made it so much easier for me to. If I go up there and tell the truth, it's my story. I can't screw it up, right? And I didn't, and I haven't, and that was a big deal for me. There it is.
So, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of the story when I was brand new and told my story the first time. And not the first time, but I feel like it was at the same meeting later on, and I did 10 minutes. And
Your parents were there. Everybody.
Oh, yeah. It was the worst. And that meeting, I couldn't even walk into when I was new in recovery. Like, let's be real. Caesar remembers I was like standing outside by the tree in the front yard. Like, I can't go. I have anxiety, but then I had isolated for so long that it was just, I mean, I can't even tell you how intense that anxiety was. So walking even into a room when I felt the way that I did with 200 people and bright lights and all of that, I was just like, I'm not going in there. You literally came out and got me at one point, I think. But this lady,
I don't play that. You coming in.
He's like, "Come on, no." Anyway, so this lady, I was talking because I knew in advance that I was going to be telling my story at that meeting. And I was talking at my women's group about how afraid I was. And this one of these old timer ladies was like, "The first time I told my story, I got up on stage. my name came out and I fell backwards and everybody still clapped and said, we learned so much from you. And she was like, I mean, it can't be much worse than that. And, but it just, I was like, that helped. That actually helped. I can do that. So no matter what I do, it's okay. I mean, it made me feel better. I don't know.
Advice on how to do it, Pam?
You just got to do it.
Just do it. I mean, there's nothing that I or anyone else on the screen can say that's going to talk louder than the voice in your head that's telling you it's going to be scary. You just have to face your fear and walk through it, and it gets easier every single time. And there's a sense of accomplishment when you get on the other side of that. And that's every fear that we face. Everything that we face, that we walk through instead of run away from, we're stronger on the other side, and we have that experience to share with somebody else. And when they say, hey, Pam, I don't know how I can tell my story, I'm too scared, you can say, well, I just did it. I just did it. If
I can do it, anybody can.
And my voice was shaky and I was scared, but I did it. And it's an amazing feeling. We get more.
Where the magic is.
Yeah.
On the other side.
It is definitely not in the comfort zone. There's no magic in the comfort zone. The magic is in getting outside of the comfort zone.
There's like little hacks too with recovery stories. For me, it helps because my brain will race, right? So I try to bring my brain back to what it was like, what happened, and what's the third one? What it was like, what happened, and where I'm at today. Like what it's like now. Like just go back to that and remember. And if I go too far off into squirrel zone, I go back to that. And also, when you get up there and you're nervous, say, I'm really nervous right now, put that in the open, and it just kind of squashes it. So if you shake and you're nervous or sweating or whatever, like they already know that, and it kills some of that fear by putting it out in the open.
I have to say something. Definitely, I know you're asking for suggestions. Talk to God.
Yes.
Like have a conversation with God and ask him to speak through you, use you as a vessel. That is like my go-to. Of course, we get in our head and we think we're going to forget everything. But literally after the first 2 minutes, the nerves totally start to fall to the side. And it's almost like an outer body experience. You just continue to talk and your story comes out and God speaks through you. That's like been my experience. That they always say pee and pray. And that is the real deal. Go pee and pray with your people and like have support there. Have support.
Yeah, that when I would forget what I would say when I was speaking, that's what a lot of the old timer ladies told me too. That was God speaking through you. I'm like, I don't remember what I said. That's because God was speaking through you. Like that's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, my simple prayer from day one has always been, God, please live through me, breathe through me, and speak through me. Amen. And then I speak, and that's it. Like whatever happens after that.
It's all good, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I used to make such a big deal about it. I used to get so nervous. He used to be like, listen, it's your story. You're going to be, and I'm like, no. And I mean, I would do like 10-minute meditations. I would go into a separate, I would get so in my head. And it's all because I'm afraid of judgment.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of what people are going to think. And literally it's like, they did so much of the same stuff. And when God speaks through you, people hear it. They hear all this stuff and you have no idea what's going to come out of your mouth that's going to change somebody's life. Like that girl did for me the first time I went into a treatment center before I went into detox, literally the day before. So, I mean, do it, whatever. You have a chance, do it. That's my whole.
What you just said, anything that we talk about on here, when we're talking about dealing with fears, you can almost trace, and I got this from Lance, so let me give Lance credit.
Yeah.
You can trace it back to one of the big three: fear of other people's opinions, fear I'm not going to get something I want, or fear I'm going to lose something I have.
Yeah.
I can trace almost everything back to those three.
Yeah.
And the fear of other people's opinions is usually the worst one, because back then I didn't have anything to lose. So I wasn't worried about losing something, but I was always worried about how I looked, and I look back then and I was like, man, I had a real reason to be worried about how I presented, because I was an absolute disaster. I have a solution to offer today. Like I can tell somebody my experience, and I can be of service and I can help somebody. And that's a purpose. And that's more important than anything. That makes me able to lay my head down at night and go, okay, I did my best today. Where I never could do that. All I did was run the tape through all the lies and all the crap that I did in the day, and then trying to remember them for the morning. And what did I tell guy A? Because I can't tell guy A the same thing that I told guy C over here. So, I mean, the fears are always going to be there, but I think the spiritual connection, the stronger it is, the better we are with not being so worried about what other people think.
Yeah, and Caesar, also, just to give the other side of what you were saying, about how you have something to offer now. You had something to offer then too. It's for example,
misery.
No, but I'm saying, but just the fact that you were sober and came out of all that alive. Even if you had a week or 2 weeks, you could tell somebody that had a day something. You're a testament that this shit actually can work. But also, and I have an example I want to, because this I noticed this at my group on Friday. There was a guy that came up there. The 10-minute speaker had 3 months clean. This dude was just like how you were saying, Caesar, like visibly trembling up there, and he said that. It's like, I'm super nervous. I've never done this before. And the power in that, for me, was just as powerful as the guy that got up after him who had 30 years. Because I'm seeing someone that is so uncomfortable and so terrified get up there, face 200 people, and tell some ugly stuff about himself. That, to me, that's the magic of this program. Like somebody, I mean, what the guy with 30 years said, he had a great message too. But you know what I mean? Like, we kind of expect Buddy to have a healthy message at 30 years, hopefully, right? But no, that dude getting up there with 3 months, and he was just like, he was scared. I could feel it. Here I am, old sensitive Nate, like cheering him on, like rooting him, because I'm feeling all this nervousness from this guy and his awkwardness.
Before I even knew you, Kelly and I heard you speak. You were the 10-minute speaker. The 10-minute speaker. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, because you were able to put your story together really well. You presented it really well. And I'm like, I'm used to people going up there and stuttering and just getting it all messed up. And you were really comfortable with it. But I'll tell people when I'm telling my story, like, I've got 7 years, or now I'll say I've got 8 years. I'm not to double digits yet. So I'm still relatable, because in all honesty, when I was new in recovery, I could not connect with a guy that had 15, 20 years. It was the guys that had 1 year or 6 months that I was like, whoa, how did you guys do that? Like, I felt like I could talk to them. Now, as I stuck around a little bit, I realized that we're all the same. They're all just a bucket of crazy, like, it doesn't matter 15 years, 10 years, 30 years.
Senators, state legislators, CEOs, whatever.
It doesn't matter. We all got that crap, and really inside and outside of the programs. Like, everybody's dealing with life on life's terms the best that they can, and everybody's putting the adult suit on, but nobody really knows what the hell they're doing. They're all second guessing themselves, whether they're an addict, an alcoholic, or just the mailman, whatever it is. Like, and that knowledge helps me on a daily basis, because I can see it sometimes, and I'm like, oh man, it's a big toddler that's got a suit on. Like, I know what's going on. It's okay. I'd lash out too. I'd be freaking out, so it's helped me with that.
I can relate to that comment that Heather put. I understand the anxiety part. I don't go to meetings because my anxiety gets so high. That's why I try to find online meetings. I try to mix it up, Heather, because I personally, I have horrible anxiety. I could look at online meetings as being like like an excuse not to go, but I like them too. A lot of people don't. I feel more connected almost because I'm going into some online meetings and it's meeting people from all over the world that are the same. That being said, I do try to push myself and force myself around people. Whether I'm doing my meetings online or not, I'm going to be around my recovery people, just because I do need some form of one-on-one connection as well. But I can relate to that. I definitely can.
All right.
Oh, God.
Oh, really?
I'm like, what's he tired from?
I'm
What's he
tired.
doing?
I still kind of feel like poop. a
I
little bit.
literally have been. I took the car ride from Atlanta to Valdosta is longer than Ocala to Valdosta. So Valdosta. So I literally had to drive longer to this wedding and then back north to Atlanta. We were in the car a long time. I'm over the whole car situation.
Well,
Done.
Yeah. That damn adult suit, Justin.
Justin,
It sucks.
damn adult suit. Please, no.
I miss you guys.
Yeah, definitely miss Justin.
We
And
all miss you guys.
Yeah, Justin's out having an epic weekend though, and he
Yeah.
deserves it. So, for those of you that don't know, I'm trying very hard to do the puppet master stuff here. So all the comments you see popping up, I'm trying to be present and do all the stuff that Justin
killing it,
usually
bro.
does.
You're doing fantastic.
And he's really good at this though. I'm not even gonna lie. It'll take some getting used to, but
You should have seen the ladies' night when Tiffany and I were trying to do it. We're like, oh. She's like, you go.
that perfectionism thing, and this just chews me up because I know I'm missing stuff all the time.
Justin had to start like this too. You'll get used to it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last one here. We love you guys. Justin's got a 3 a.m. flight.
Gosh.
Oh, Helen, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Helen's always got words of encouragement.
yeah,
So that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you to everybody that shared and commented. You guys make it fantastic. What am I doing here?
Happy. Oh, never mind.
No,
It's like, let a comment. No.
no, she's pointing out stuff that I'm not supposed to hit.
Sorry.
But I appreciate you guys so much. And please don't forget to tune in on Wednesday at 8 o'clock for Addiction to Success.
Yes.
And please, keep sharing our stuff and keep this thing going. And we love you all. Have a good night.
Love you.